Hello, and welcome back to another Writer Wizard podcast. In today's video, I'm going to briefly talk about why I incredibly and vastly dislike vegans, vegetarians, etc. And I'm also going to be talking about the title of the video. If you've seen the title, you know how I obviously feel. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So, let's go ahead and get started. I said I was going to talk about vegans and vegetarians, and for the simple fact of simplicity, let's say, let's just classify them as vegans. I know there's a slight difference between a vegetarian and a vegan, but they're basically the same thing. They don't like to eat meat. I think vegans take it a step further, and they don't like milk from cows and stuff like that. Whereas I guess vegetarians maybe don't have that same hang up. And, honestly, can we just lay the cards out on the table and just admit that if you come across a vegan or a vegetarian, they're more than likely a Democrat. They're more than likely someone who's on the left. Now, there could be some on the right, but not many. But it's my experience, from what I've seen, that most vegans and vegetarians believe in all the Democrat causes. Like I said, for simplicity's sake, let's just call vegans and vegetarians vegans just to... But when I say vegans, I'm also talking about vegetarians. So anyways, let's go. So, what is my issue with them? First, let's classify what they are. They are people who do not like to eat meat, as I've stated, and they eat plants, vegetables. They'll eat fruits, they'll eat vegetables, they'll eat vegetables that are made to look like meat, or turned into like some kind of meat product, but it's not, there's no actual meat in the product. Now, if it was simply a lifestyle choice, and these people said, I don't like the taste of any meat, I've tried it all, and I don't like the taste of any, okay, I could get behind that. But 9 times out of 10, that is not the case. 9 times out of 10, it's because they want to save the planet. They don't agree with killing animals. Now, if you're following logically, well, their 2 points don't match up. They want to save the planet, but they want to eat the planet. They want to eat vegetables, plants that give us oxygen, that help cleans the air we breathe. And nobody ever brings this up. Nobody ever says, wait a minute, but by eating more plants, you're getting rid of the filter that Mother Nature provides to clean the air for everyone and everything. Everyone and everything that breathes oxygen relies on plants. And you want to have farmers basically dig up more plants, kill more plants than animals, so you can have a meal. Now, true, obviously, they're going to dig up the plants anyway. But if there's more of a demand, okay, let's say tomorrow more people became vegans, then obviously the farmers are going to have to plant more. And yeah, that actually helps out the earth for a while, but eventually it'll kill them off when they dig them up to sell them. And yeah, they have to replant. But still, you're eating something that actually has a purpose. You're killing something that is providing oxygen, clean air. And you're so focused on eating those plants and saving the animals when those animals are probably providing more greenhouse gases. I mean, there's other things that animals are used for as well. And like I said, with vegans, they won't even eat like cheese or milk. I'm not a vegan myself or a vegetarian. I'm an omnivore. I was born an omnivore. Mankind, we can eat both. And that's basically my issue. And somebody I worked with, I was actually talking with about this subject, and they brought up the good point that actually the more plants that farmers have to dig up, the worse it is for the planet. And I asked them how so, and they said, well, because that means they have to run their tractors longer. Now, yeah, we're getting to a point where people use electric tractors, maybe, possibly, but you know how expensive those electric tractors are? Most farmers can't afford it. Especially since we're kind of in a really shitty place when it comes to the economy. They're not giving away electric tractors for free to these farmers, are they? No. And if the farmers can't sell enough, well, and then we wonder why the price of meat's going up. So, yeah, that's basically my overall view when it comes to vegans and vegetarians. They are doing more harm. And ask them, say, hey, do you realize you are eating something that could have provided more fresh air, more clean air, and then you're going to go and complain about greenhouse gases or killing something with the face? That's the other thing, too. They don't want to eat the animals because the animals are alive. Oh, what the hell do you think a plant is? Do you think a plant isn't alive? What happens if you don't give a plant? If you have a household plant and you do not give that plant water or sunlight, which is its food and water, if you don't take care of that plant like you would a pet, what happens to that plant? Well, that's right. It dies. Which means it's alive. It's a living thing. And you're still killing it just because, well, it doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a mouth, and you can't hear it screaming. Some plants, you can see them bleeding. It's called sap. Just because its blood's not red doesn't mean you're not any less killing it. So, if you don't want to eat something that's alive, something that was alive at one point, where does that leave you? What are you going to eat? Well, you can't eat nuts. That's part of a tree. That was too alive at one point. It grew like living things tend to do. And it's called the food chain. It's called basic logic. If you're okay killing By the way, when a vegan eats vegetables, you do realize that one cow had to die to feed many people. If you're eating vegetables all the time, you are probably responsible for way more plant deaths than the cows were killed. One bag of corn. And if you're eating a bag of corn every day, first off, as far as I know, this is my body, corn doesn't break down quite so well. But all those kernels in that bag probably didn't come from just one piece of corn. Now, granted, you could say that not all the meat in a hamburger comes from just one cow, but usually that is the leftover meat from the steaks that gets cycled around. Maybe not all the bacon came from the same pig in your packet of bacon. Probably did. Usually my bacon matches pretty well from package to package. So it looks like it was pretty well sliced, and it's probably from the same. And maybe the corn did come from one. But there's probably at least 2 ears of corn worth on each bag. I'm talking about the frozen bags you can throw in the microwave for like 2-3 minutes. That feeds a family of 4, so that's at least 2 full-size ears of corn, if not 3. But those things were alive. Those things, maybe they can't speak, maybe they can't talk and scream when they die, but trust me, they're feeling pain. So congratulations to all the vegans and vegetarians. You've probably committed more murders, since you call killing a cow murder, which, that's insane. I've actually heard vegans say, well, you're murdering animals. Okay, you're murdering plants that actually do something. You're causing the farmers to use tractors. They don't use tractors to kill the cows, but they do use tractors to plow entire fields, to make bread, to make all the vegetables that you need. They don't go out there and pick it by hand. And they haven't done it for a very long time. So, that is basically pretty much everything I wanted to say about vegans and vegetarians. It's just so dumb when you really put logic into it. And I'm not saying this from a leftist or a rightist point of view. I'm just saying this as somebody who's like, but plants are alive too. They live and they die. And they actually perform a vital function to this planet. I mean, granted, we're not helping as a race, as the entire human race is not helping, because we are bulldozing entire acres away to create new parts of cities and stuff, instead of fixing the shit we have. But alright, we're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we are going to go ahead and talk about our main topic.
In the shadows, the tale unfolds. The guardian loves, the story holds. Shame the ordinary, thrust in the light, to fight the darkness, to make it right. Chosen by fate, path unknown, to rise up as more than just skin and bone. Oh, guardian of the light, stand strong and proud in the face of darkness. Rise from the crowd with every spell cast. Let the magic ignite. Shame the new Santa brings hope to the night. With whispers of magic he steps through the door. In a world of wonder he yearns to explore. Secrets lurking behind every charm. To wield the power he must stay warm. The North Pole calls the winter inside. For the spirit out of joy he must learn to lie. Oh, guardian of the light, stand strong and proud in the face of darkness. Rise from the crowd with every spell cast. Let the magic ignite. Shame the new Santa brings hope to the night. In this wondrous tale of courage and light, the legacy lives on in the heart of the light.
Alright. So now on to the big topic. The Birdman is a coward. Now, I don't know if any of my subscribers follow the Birdman. I don't know if any of the Birdman's subscribers are watching this video. If you're watching this video, though, and you're wondering who the hell the Birdman is, and you're not familiar with him, I implore you, a link to his channel is going to be in the description below. Go ahead, check out his channel. I've done videos on him in the past. I really tried to find other topics to talk about other than the Birdman. Because he keeps making these exposing the grift videos that most of the time are just a bunch of bullshit. It's really just him complaining that this other creator said something he didn't like, who maybe this other creator has more viewers than him. His favorite target is the Critical Drinker. Honestly, a channel I'm not super familiar with. But, there was a video he made. It was about a couple months back where he was talking about the Critical Drinker. I believe it was the Critical Drinker. It might have been Neurotic, but I'm pretty sure it was the Critical Drinker. And the Critical Drinker was saying some bull crap about some Marvel movie that had just came out. And the Critical Drinker, he's got over 2 million subscribers. And like I said, I forget which Marvel movie it was, but the Birdman was calling him out, calling it bullshit, and then saying things like that the Critical Drinker is racist, and asking why the Critical Drinker does not review the movie Sinners. Now, it was at this point, right after watching that video, that I had come up with an idea, a thought. I actually am a human being. I have the capacity to think. And so I had a thought. And I went and checked his channel. And I was looking through his channel. And, as far as I could see, with just a quick glance, most, if not all of his videos are either science fiction, superhero based, or action. Okay? Now, I left a comment on the Birdman's videos, or on that video specifically, saying that he doesn't really review horror movies as far as I can tell. That would probably be why he never talks about the movie Sinners. And even if he does do a horror movie here or there, it's not like it's his main thing. His main thing is like, nerd shit. Comic book movies, fairy tales, fantasy, sci-fi, like hardcore sci-fi, like spaceships and shit. Not a horror movie or even a horror sci-fi about vampires. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I myself have not watched Sinners. In fact, the crap the Birdman keeps talking has pushed me away from really wanting to see it. That and the fact that I'm just sort of sick of vampire movies at this point. You could probably thank my ex-wife for that, because she dragged me along to the Twilight movies, and haven't really, unless it's an older vampire movie, I have a bunch of vampire movies that I haven't wanted to watch a vampire movie. I just sat down with my daughter and my friend, and I watched Buffy, but that was more because it was more the character interactions and not the vampires. Yeah, it has vampires in it, but for a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, vampires are not really the main focus. There's a vampire in season 1 that's a big bad, and then in season 2 you got 2 main characters who are kind of the big bad, and they're vampires, but neither of them go away forever. But then when you get to season 3, it's the mayor who wants to become a demon. Then in season 4, it's a Frankenstein monster, essentially, made up of demon parts. Then you got a freaking hell god. Then you got basically, I don't want to ruin the surprise. If you haven't seen Buffy, you'll know where it goes. And then in the last season, it's the very first evil. Like the original evil. So only the first 2 seasons had vampires as the actual big bad villains. For the rest of the show, they're kind of a joke. She takes them out so easily. Unless they're somewhat a returning character. I'm looking at you, Harmony. But yeah. Vampires for a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer is not really the main focus. It's kind of like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, the dead, it starts off with a lot of, the dead, but then the show kind of pivots and changes more towards the human interactions rather than the zombie interaction. We're not trying to fight against the zombies. We're just using the zombies as a weapon or something. Or just some random break in a conversation. Oh, gotta go clean out this house so we can raid it. But I haven't had a huge dive to want to watch a vampire movie. And I just got Nosferatu. It looked interesting from the trailer I saw. And speaking of trailer, I hardly remember even seeing a trailer for Sinners. But no, I guess it's a heavy black cast. And the Birdman was calling Critical Drinker racist for not reviewing that movie. It's like, well, he doesn't review horror movies. Is that so horrible? Can you not understand? He has a particular set of genre a particular thing he does. He's not like CinemaSins. He doesn't just jump from movie to movie to movie to movie to movie. Yeah, maybe he does some sort of horror movies. Like, I think I saw a video about Final Destination, but Final Destination is also kind of supernatural, as in a fantasy aspect, dealing with the Grim Reaper as an invisible villain that's chasing you. But it's not like most of the videos on his channel. Now, if Cody Leach, another channel I like a lot, if he refused to review Sinners or ever talk about Sinners, then maybe the Birdman would have a point there. Because he is primarily a horror channel. But I'll tell you what, he did review Sinners. I haven't watched that review because I don't want to spoil the movie. I'll get around to it eventually. I may be waiting. I might wait and actually review it with my daughter. It's supposed to be such a good vampire movie. Although vampire movies and zombie movies, come on. They're everywhere. But it's getting to the point where that's getting boring for me. But I'm probably going to check it out. And when I do, I'll probably review it. But the Birdman just throws around the word racist. Calling people racist. Clearly showing he's a huge Democrat who has drank the Kool-Aid and believes the lies. Every lie that they go around telling, he believes in them. And that was made absolutely 100% positively apparent with this cowardly video where he challenged a dead man. He didn't have the balls to say any of this shit that he said in his most recent video when the man was alive. But he sure targeted him now he's dead. And yes, I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. He made a video about Charlie Kirk, basically saying what a horrible person Charlie was when the man is dead and cannot defend himself. And then this is his issue, okay? This is the biggest thing with, not only is the Birdman a coward racist, but he also tries to shield himself. That's how much of a coward he is. He shields himself from any negativity people might try to come back with by using actual logic on the Birdman. Because he refuses to debate people. He doesn't just refuse it. He's like, well, I don't like modern day debates. They're just for show. Trying to pan it off like, oh, well, if you're debating someone, there's no sense. Well, then don't have a fucking opinion, Birdman. Because people should have the right to debate you. They should have the right to sit there with you and have a conversation so you can make your point live. But that's the problem, is the Birdman, he can't make his points live because he has to do extensive research, which is faulty. Because if he did any amount of thinking logically, if he did any amount of actual research, he would not have put this bullshit clip in his video.
And the moment he ran up against people that knew what they were talking about, this is what would happen to him.
At 8 weeks, we have tails. At 8 weeks, an embryo has tails. Do humans have tails, Charlie?
I'm sorry, what?
Serious question. Do human beings have tails?
I'm not exactly sure the essence of the question.
Do human beings have tails? Do you have a tail?
You know, I have never met anyone with a tail. I'm not exactly sure the...
Exactly. But fetuses have tails. Kind of proves that at that phase, they are not a human being. They got tails. Humans don't have tails. We're not dinosaurs. Let me even show you a photo if I may, okay? Do you truly, in your heart of hearts, truly believe that this is a human being? This,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt?
Yes.
This is a dolphin fetus.
So let me.
Without a doubt, a dolphin fetus is a human being. This is a human fetus. Look how similar they look, but quite different. Dolphin. You just confirmed that a dolphin, in life, do you confuse dolphins for human babies often?
So let me
you
ask
go
you
to
a question.
SeaWorld and you're like, someone's got human babies in that aquarium. Get the human babies out of the aquarium.
Well, you labeled it as a human fetus.
No,
so
I
you
did
that
not.
dishonestly.
No, I did not.
But
I didn't label it as anything.
Let me. But you. Let
Doesn't
me,
say
let me-
human fetus on there.
Let me ask you a question though. So let's hold up those two pictures again.
Sure.
Is there a moral difference between the dolphin and the baby?
At this stage, no.
No,
you just,
no,
and
no,
you
no,
just
no.
confirmed that.
Let me ask you: a human and a dolphin. Is it okay to kill one and not the other? Is there a difference morally between a human and a dolphin?
I mean, I don't like to kill dolphins, but when
Do
they're
you like to kill babies?
no, I don't.
Now, you're probably thinking, well, what do you mean bullshit video? I mean, he totally got owned. Well, Charlie Kirk did not totally get owned. That is a lie, propagated by the left, propagated by one misstep. I mean, yes, Charlie failed at that. Let's be honest. He failed. But he was tricked into failing. First off, the guy is talking about human babies, human abortions. And he acts like he's going to show Charlie a picture of a human baby. Now, he did not come right out and say it, but based on the conversation they were having prior to the video, we get enough context that that's what they were talking about. I have never seen the actual video of this interview, but just from what the Birdman showed, what I just showed you, you can tell they were talking about abortion and they were talking about a human baby fetus. And the guy pulls out a picture. He says, is this a human baby fetus? Now, Charlie says yes, which was wrong. But then he pulls out the second picture and he's like, no, this is a human baby fetus. Now, both of these fetuses are maybe within the first month of pregnancy, probably. Because even from looking at that video, they kind of look the same as any mammal fetus would basically look the same. Just like here. Are you telling me, dude on the TV, that a dolphin sperm has a blowhole and a fin and a tail like a dolphin? Or does a dolphin male sperm look just like a human sperm? Does a dolphin female egg look pretty much like a human female egg? So guess what? At the beginning of concept, at the beginning of birth, when that child is first being born, when the freaking sperm goes into the egg, guess what? For the first month or so, yeah, probably going to look very similar. Because it's barely taken any shape at all. And then the guy tries to trick Charlie by saying, well, do humans have tails? And yes, this is where Charlie failed. But his failure did not come from lack of knowledge. His failure came from his religion. His failure stems from the fact that he believes in the Bible. He believes in God. He believes in God put man on earth, as is no improvements needed. He created us as we are, and we have just been the same old kind of humans, just slightly different, living longer lives than we used to, but we've always had 5 fingers, 5 on each hand, 5 toes on each foot, 2 legs, 2 arms, a head. But unfortunately, his religion does not call for the factor of evolution. Now, I'm going to answer the question the way Charlie should have answered it. So, if the guy asks me, do humans have tails? Well, yes, we do. Every human, at the beginning of life, has a tail. But as your body grows inside your mother, eventually, you lose that tail. Now, there are actually some babies who are born with their tails still attached. This is a fact. They have medical procedures to take care of this fact. And here's what Google has to say on that. Yes, humans can be born with appendages called human tails, which are rare conditions, often classified as true tails, with muscle, nerves, blood, vessels, fat, skin, connective tissue, and these are distinct from a long ancestral tail, unusually indicated underlying spinal issues needing investigation. These tails are usually remnants of a fetal development, appearing as a dorsal. I can't say that word. That are either benign or linked to spinal diaphragm. Again, medical terms are not my strong suit. Requiring medical attention, despite some cultures' beliefs viewing them as divine. So, are humans born with tails? Yeah, but not many. It's a rare occurrence, and usually it's dealt with at birth. Usually, the parents or the doctors have the tail removed as quick as possible, so the baby won't even remember it. Why do you think back in basic high school biology you learned about the tailbone? Who remembers that from high school biology? When you learned about the human skeleton, do you not remember the tailbone? So yes, are humans born with tails? Yes, but we've evolved to not need tails. So probably humans a long time ago had tails. We just don't need them anymore. So we end up losing them as we're born. Before we're born, actually. As we're growing inside. And, to be honest, the tails you probably have at the beginning of being a fetus, the tail like you would see in the picture, like what the guy held up, where the two things look like shrimps. Yeah, guess what? Those are probably what turns into your legs. I'm not a doctor. I don't know that for a fact. But I'm going to say it's probably maybe a safe bet that on a dolphin, it turns into an actual tail. And in a human, it turns into legs. But you know what? What the fuck is a dolphin? Oh, that's right. It's a mammal. What are humans? Mammals. So is a mammal fetus, possibly from two different species, going to look somewhat similar at conception? Probably. So Charlie was tricked. He was misled by the conversation just so this guy could go, aha, see? He got it wrong. And I would much prefer to actually have a real conversation with the Birdman about this than to have to make a stupid response video again because he said something dumb. The last time I made a response video was because of the fact he basically was calling every white person racist, and he tried to blockade any chance any white person would have by saying, well, you can't just say that you have a black friend and that instantly means you're not racist. Like, hello, if I'm white and I have a black friend and I tell you I have a black friend, that instantly proves I'm not racist. Because why the hell would a racist person be hanging out with someone they're racist against? That makes no sense. I would love to hear his thoughts on that. I would love to debate the Birdman. I will debate the Birdman anytime, anywhere, but he won't do it. Why? Because he's too afraid. He's a coward. He's a pussy. He can't handle having to think on his feet. He has to practice. And I'll prove it. I will prove he is too much of a coward.
Got into some type of debate. I briefly spoke about this in a live stream.
If I met any grifter in person, what's the first thing I'm doing? Nothing. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. Argue with these morons in public? They don't want no smoke with me. Not that type of smoke. Not real life smoke. I don't think grifters in general want to argue their positions. I think they're pussies. I mean like in a debate. Now, I don't like debating because I think of it as pageantry. It's a popularity contest. It's, oh, you know, this guy has more followers than you, therefore they won the argument. This is how people actually think. I'm not joking. People come to my channel all the time. Oh, they have more followers than you. That must mean they're right. They literally say that. So what's the point? What would be the point of a debate? You know, that's my perspective. But their perspective, they don't want to debate because they know that their ideas can't stand up to scrutiny in real time. They know that. So they would never do it. They have no reason to do it. Because if they got exposed in real time, well, there goes the grift. It's gone. It's over. They can ignore me. You know, they can ignore my videos. Well, they kind of can't because, like, it's been reaching them. And, you know, somebody super chatted the Critical Drinker and asked him, what do you think about the Birdman, whatever. It's like, he's a hater. You know, he called me a hater. I'm a hater for saying that you lied about this thing. That's hate. That doesn't even make any sense. But whatever. That's what they do. They brush me off. And they don't have to engage with me. Which is fine. I'm not looking to be acknowledged by these niggas. Like, I don't give a fuck what they think. They're wrong. They're bigoted pieces of shit. Fuck them. But what I'm saying is they have no reason to engage with somebody like me. They just don't. So they won't.
So no, I don't think he's scared of me, but he's definitely afraid of exposing his audience to people like me because we directly threaten his ability to make a living by telling them the truth about him. This is one of the reasons I can't stand debates in the modern era. His strategy of picking on young people who have not fully developed their opinions on the rather difficult topics he chose to talk about is the tactic of an anti-intellectual and a man afraid of looking like the idiot he actually was.
So right there, yeah, he doesn't say, well, I'm too afraid, but he's spitballing around it. He's like, well, it's not worth my time. I'm too good for that. Bitch, shut up. You ain't too good for that. Let's go. I'm a nobody. If you are so worried about the Critical Drinker maybe proving you wrong, I'm a nobody. Nobody knows me from Adams. I'll debate you. And that's the other thing that really pissed me off about his recent video with Context and Charlie Kirk. Is he goes on to say that Charlie Kirk picked soft targets. Listen.
I think he was a piece of shit with terrible views, and he couldn't actually debate worth a damn, which is why he chose soft targets and almost never debated actual intellectuals that talked about those subjects for a living. And that's because the right wing are not concerned with arriving at the truth in debates and are just interested in seeing someone get owned, something Charlie was eager to provide them. This is one of the reasons I can't stand debates in the modern era. His strategy of picking on young people who have not fully developed their opinions on the rather difficult topics he chose to talk about is the tactic of an anti-intellectual.
Now, I want you to really, really hold on to that clip in your mind, because I'm going to play another clip in a little bit after I say some things that is going to prove the point I'm going to make here. He said that Charlie Kirk picks soft targets by targeting these college kids. First off, Charlie Kirk did not target anybody. Yes, granted, he held his events in college areas, but he was open to debate anyone. Anyone could have come up to that microphone and debated him. And he would know this if he watched even 5 of Charlie's full videos. But he didn't do all his research. This is where the Birdman failed, because he did not do the research. He's too good to listen to maybe that Charlie might have a point, but if he did his research, he would know that every time he went to one of these events and supposedly targeted a soft target, that his group would extensively do research on the rates, the graphs, any polls, anything on the subject that they could get their hands on. And he probably studied that before going into the debate. Then, on top of it, like I said, Birdman, he opened the debate to anyone. You could have got off your ass if he was in your area, gone down to a college and debated him in public and proved how good you are and how wrong Charlie Kirk was. But you didn't do that. You know who else didn't do that? Any of these left-wing college professors who can't think with any logic at all, and it's amazing that they got the job as a college professor and are allowed to teach children, or young adults, I should say, because that's what they don't view college kids. And that's the problem with the left. They don't view college kids as young adults. They view them as children, as sheep. And that is what pisses me off. And it should really be pissing off every college kid out there. But it's not. They view you as sheep. They view you as weak. They view you as a child. Even though you're over 18 by the time you get to college, which means you are a young adult, they don't believe you have the power to think for yourself. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to think what they want you to think. What the left thinks. And that is more than adequate proof. That is so often proven with every single one of Charlie Kirk's videos. Why? Because it is the college kids who are trying to debate with what they learned from their professors in college. Not one college professor ever came down there and debated Charlie to his face. Not once. And then the Birdman's going to say he picks soft targets? No. The soft targets just came to him. Why? Because, well, deep down, some of them might have been actually hoping to hear some logic so they could go back and own their professor. Even, or just for the fun of it, try to see if maybe they could win. I mean, come on. Some people really like an impossible task. Some people just, I mean, look at all the Karens in the world who just want to scream and yell when they know they're in the wrong. But they want somebody to believe them. We had an entire Me Too movement. We had an entire Black Lives movement. Oh, what happened to the Me Too movement? Oh, women started lying. Women started accusing men who did nothing. And they got what? Nothing. But the men's lives were ruined. Until people started realizing these women are full of shit. Now, granted, I'm not saying every single woman was full of shit. There might have been some real ones. But you know what fucked it up? All the fakes. With the Black Lives Matters, ooh, that ticked me off so much. I spent my life against racist people. I hated racist people. I didn't care what color you were. I had a family member who would constantly make racist jokes, and I told them that, hey, you know what? That's not cool. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm not comfortable with you making that joke around me. I may not be black, but I don't want to hear racist jokes either. And I have had many black friends throughout my life. I've mentioned all this in the previous video where I talked about the Birdman. But separating black people, how did they not see that? How did black people not see the whole Black Lives Matter thing and go, hey, wait a minute. What the fuck are you separating us for? Why are you singling us out? I mean, if we did that, the world would go haywire if we did a White Lives Matter. You know what I said the very first time I heard about Black Lives Matter? I said, shouldn't it be All Lives Matter? Oh, you must. And then I hear people doing that, oh, you're racist. You're racist. Why? Because I believe every life should matter. Shouldn't matter what sex you are. Shouldn't matter what color you are. We all bleed red. Shouldn't every life matter? Shouldn't everyone's life matter? Well, I guess not if, people are going out doing some of the shit they're doing nowadays. And then, when Charlie Kirk died, I was all like, you know what? We need to just start getting rid of these people. We need to, and I'm not just talking about, any particular group, except for leftists. Anyone who's a leftist, anyone who's a Democrat, just kick them the fuck out. Get them out of here. We're done. No. Go. Get out of this country. You don't like it here anyway. You don't like our rules. You don't like our, how we do things. So go. Go to a country that does things the way you like them. Birdman, go. You keep talking about Japan, but you and I both know you will not be allowed to go to Japan and do whatever you want to do to make them change to be like America. They will not tolerate that. You can't go to Japan and make Japan into America. If a bunch of Americans went there and tried to do that, tried to get into their government and change things to be like how things are here, they'd be like, no, 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 and they'd kick him out. So, no, we do not need to be separating people. And that's all this bullshit has done for the last 10 years. Is they've been trying so hard to separate. Why? Because they believe these young people are sheep. These young people are stupid, and these young people can't think for themselves. But they're wrong. Only some of them can't think for themselves. And that's the ones that are drinking the Kool-Aid. The ones that are getting brainwashed. The ones who are thinking, you know what? Oh, maybe I should be trans because I'm not a man. This was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm not a man. I'm not a woman. Okay, so then you're nothing. You are literally nothing. If you're not a man, you're not a woman, you're nothing. We'll transition you to a bald Ken doll. Or a bald, well, no, because Barbie has breast. So it'd have to be, I guess, a Ken doll. Or maybe it'd be like half a Ken doll, half a Barbie doll. I don't know. But it's just stupid either way. And yeah, I have been pushed to be a Republican. I was probably more towards the middle. I've considered myself in the middle for quite a long time. And only recently, in the past 5-6 years or so, maybe a little longer, maybe 10 years since I started noticing this stuff really heavily, I've been leaning more and more and more to the right. Why? Well, because, you know what? The right was thinking with logic. And the Birdman, he's one of those leftists. I don't know. He must have been paid off. He's got to have been paid off by some leftist group. That really is pushing this shit. Because he wasn't pushing this before. But now he is. And it's just freaking so stupid and insane. And he ain't going to debate me. He hasn't got the courage to debate me on this. Oh, maybe he'll make a response video. I don't fucking care. But here's the thing. They're not soft targets. People are waking up to how things really are and the real logic. And that scares the people on the left. He also said, he talked about Ben Shapiro and someone else, Joe Rogan, I think, and Matt Walsh. Now, that is a name I am familiar with. I mean, I'm familiar with Ben Shapiro, but I don't watch a lot of Ben's stuff. But I do watch Matt Walsh, and he said all of them target soft targets. Not just Charlie, but all of them, including Matt Walsh. Now, I loved hearing that because, well, I got news for you, buddy. Guess what? He doesn't target soft targets. He gets right down and fucking in there, and he goes out on the streets. He talked to a real college professor. He talked to real leftist writers who wrote bullshit books. He went on Dr. Phil. He went on Dr. Phil, and that's what really got him noticed by the entire world. That's what got my attention. I was like, holy crap, this guy's making some really good points. His Dr. Phil thing was the first thing I ever saw Matt Walsh in when the whole trans thing was really picking up, and it got me to go check out his channel. And ever since then, I watch him daily. Yeah, I'm a Matt Walsh fan. I watch his shit daily. Whenever he puts out a new full video, I mean, I don't watch maybe all the short little shorts that he puts on his channel, but I watch the full hour-long daily thing, Monday through Friday. And he does not choose soft targets. He doesn't care if you don't like him. He tells it to you straight up how it is, and he's not a college professor. Charlie, as far as I know, wasn't. He might have gone to college, but I don't know. But my basic point is you had the nerve, Birdman, to say he chose soft targets, but he never chose a soft target. Those soft targets just chose to come to him. If they were so sure, if they were so positive, they should have not stepped up to the mic. Nobody should have paid him any attention. He could have sat in his little tent all day long, watching people walk by, trying to get their attention, and they could have ignored him. But they didn't. They chose to stop and come up to that microphone. At least they, I will say, have more balls and more courage than you have. Even my good friend, Anime D Senpai, he hates debating with me because I often beat him. He's actually told me flat out that he hates debating with me because he knows he's probably going to lose. And the reason why he knows this is because typically I research a subject before I talk about it. Or I'm quick to pull up actual proof. Now, granted, I will admit that there are times where he happened to know a little bit more than me, or something more current, or they changed something, and because usually we argue about anime or Star Wars, to be honest with you. I know more about Star Wars, he knows more about anime. Usually, if it's anime, though, I mean, I'll admit, I'll say, hey, you know what? You're right. I got that wrong. I'm sorry, but you're right. But we don't argue about anime nearly as much as we probably argue about Star Wars. But no, we argue all the time, and he has the courage to keep coming back. Yet the Birdman can't offer up the courage to sit down and have a half-hour conversation with somebody online to make his point, to make himself clear, and to prove he knows what the hell he's talking about, and he's not just chasing a grift. Yeah, that's right. The grift you're so trying to expose, you're part of that. You're making yourself part of it. I used to watch the Birdman. I really did. I was subscribed, well, my personal channel. I was subscribed to him. This channel is still subscribed. Just on the off chance he makes a rebuttal video. I won't lie. But I was subscribed to the Birdman on my personal channel. I recently unsubscribed because of this bullshit. Now maybe I'll resubscribe one day. But I loved watching his videos where he went up against CinemaSins. Everything he would say against CinemaSins was 100% on the money. And yeah, he says, oh, it's just all in good fun. But, dude, you were telling the truth. CinemaSins is full of shit. And, like, the exposing Griff video where he talked about the flat earthers, come on, that was good. That was good information. You did really good there. But you keep chasing after the same dumb asshole. And yeah, I admit, the Critical Drinker did not do a good job by releasing a video on Supergirl. Congratulations, you got that one right too. I'm not familiar with the comic either, but I mean, you showed proof. The critical drinker didn't do any research clearly about the upcoming Supergirl movie, and you clearly did. But on this point, you're wrong. You clearly didn't do your research here. Somebody else made a Twitter comment or something where he said, oh, the Birdman contradicted himself. He did, but not in the way that the Birdman exposed. The guy should have thought a little bit more clear about what it was. Unless, of course, I'm right, and the Birdman and the rest of these leftists think that college kids are weak targets because, well, you're kids to them. Not young adults who are capable, and most are starting their lives. Most are starting to build their adult lives. But they're being misguided by older adults. Okay, so the reason I asked you to remember that clip earlier was because, well, I basically went through it all, that Charlie Kirk did not go against soft targets. He went against young adults who could think for themselves, and they tried to make their points, but they failed. Now, maybe it was because he had more skill, but I think the biggest reason is because of the fact, like the Birdman said earlier in this video, listen to this clip actually.
And being that I'm an atheist, I do not believe in divine punishment. No, I think this person should have to answer to us, mortals, for his actions and be shunned from polite society. This can take many forms, but the best one I can think of is this person should be deplatformed so that his ideas do not spread and cause actual harm to real people. In other words, he should not be paid to spread hate and bigotry.
So that his ideas do not spread and cause actual harm to real people.
So that his ideas do not spread.
So basically, Charlie was trying to stop these ideas while they were still in their infancy. While these college kids, these young adults who do have the power to change their mind and possibly go forward with real knowledge on topics that he had picked, he was trying to stop them from spreading misinformation. He was trying to stop them from being misinformed by older adults than themselves. People who were trying to spread propaganda. But he got labeled as someone who goes after soft targets. The words of a coward. Because the Birdman will never debate anybody. The Birdman doesn't have the courage. Oh, he has the courage to put out a video, but not, like I said, I'm willing to debate him. I'm sure there's a lot of people online that would be willing to go live with the Birdman and debate him live and have a full conversation. But he won't do it because he knows he'll lose. And he doesn't want to lose publicly because he can't think on his feet. Because he doesn't have the courage to make his point in front of a live audience. So that is basically where I'm going to end with it. Like I said, if you want to see the full video, go check it out. It's completely up to you. No one's making you do anything. But, maybe you'll see something I didn't see. But I watched his whole video a couple times. And I'm sorry. You messed up, Birdman. In your whole exposing the grift thing, I think you need to put it to rest because you're really just showing that you're a racist, cowardly man And your biggest target is the critical drinker. You have some stick up your ass about the critical drinker that, I don't know, he must have ran over your dog or your cat. If you're a leftist, you're probably a cat owner. Maybe. But he probably ran over your animal and you're sour about it because you can't prove it was him, but you saw it was him. And now that you're on a vendetta quest, I don't know, make him lose all his subscribers. Even though a lot of channels are suffering, a lot of channels are going through crap these days. And you are just too hyper-focused, which makes you look very racist. And you probably don't care, and you probably are like, yeah, I'm racist. That makes you part of the problem, rather than part of any solution. And the fact that you're not willing to talk to a person's face kind of shows you're a coward and a pussy. So, I highly expect this video is going to be downvoted to oblivion by all the Birdman fans that are going to come across this. And I don't expect a response. But I guess we'll see. But in the meantime, hopefully those of you who are not brainwashed, who can think logically and with facts, will look deeper into these things and realize maybe Charlie had a point. That maybe people like the Birdman should really, really rethink their positions about Charlie and the good he did. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and go to church, but there are a lot of more people going to church. There are a lot more people doing what Charlie did. Because what he did was good. And was the man always right? No. Like I said with the whole evolution thing, he was a man of God. He was a man of faith, a man of religion, and he would never admit that humans have tails. But we did. And that's why I answered the question the way Charlie should have. Yes, we had tails, but we evolved not to have them. And now, some people are still born with tails, and it's a very rare thing. But it's taken care of with surgery pretty much right away. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this awful video that's going to be downvoted to oblivion. I'll be absolutely amazed if it gets many views at all, or many upvotes at all. But if you're new to the channel, please consider maybe subscribing. And I will be back soon, hopefully. I had other videos I wanted to do. I was trying really hard not to talk about the Birdman, not to talk about Trump. I have a politics video dealing with the economy I wanted to talk about, but I was trying to assemble my thoughts and get everything ready to make that video when I saw this pop up on my YouTube feed, and I was like, no. I cannot sit silent anymore on the Birdman stuff. I mean, he makes some good points, but not all his points are good, so I had to do this one, at least. I mean, if he's going to challenge a dead man who can't defend himself, then it's up to us to challenge him back and stand up for those who can't defend themselves. Oh, wait. What do we call people who target people who can't defend themselves? All right, bullies. Now, Birdman, ball's in your court. Are you going to actually go on and debate somebody to prove me wrong? Or are you going to sit behind your little microphone and desk and laugh it off? I'm not laughing. But I hear you laughing. And you always make fun of Cinema Sins and Critical Drinker for laughing. So, yeah. Come on. Let's debate. With that said, I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.